My roommate always likes to act cute with the delivery guy when ordering takeout. Baby, hurry up, my tummy is hungry. Alright, read but didn't reply. This damn charm of mine has caught their attention. Bro, go for it, baby will always be with you. I advised her not to do that. After all, it's hard to know what's in someone's heart, and you never know if the person on the other side of the screen is human or a ghost. After hearing the advice, my roommate obediently waited for the food delivery and stopped teasing the delivery guy. Later, she saw a news story online. A woman dated a food delivery guy and later found out he was actually a rich second generation. She believed I was blocking her path to becoming a wealthy wife and hated me to the bone. She put rat poison in the mixed rice, intending to end my life. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day my roommate ordered takeout. Alice, this delivery guy is so aloof. My roommate Jenny pouted and muttered in my ear, sending a shiver down my spine and raising goosebumps all over my body. She was still immersed in her flirtatious banter with the delivery guy, completely unaware that I was staring at her in horror. I saw a series of messages Jenny had sent to the delivery guy in the chat box in front of me. David, I've been in class all day. I'm so hungry. David, keep it up, stay safe. Wah, my little tummy is rumbling like thunder. Why hasn't the food arrived yet? The entire chat box was filled with messages Jenny had sent to the delivery rider, who only replied once from start to finish. Don't rush. That's why she said the other person was aloof. Hey, by the way, Alice, didn't you also order takeout just now? Where's your delivery? Since the delivery rider didn't respond to her, Jenny started making small talk with me. You're just too aloof. Delivery riders are workers too, and as customers, we need to bring a little warmth into their lives. Look, every time our whole dorm orders takeout, mine is always the first to arrive. Why do you think that is? As she spoke, she began to lecture me. I picked up my phone and glanced at the food delivery app. Actually, the reason her order always arrived first was that she secretly slacked off during class to place her order. Meanwhile, my other roommates and I would spend ages debating what to eat after class before finally placing our orders. Since we all ordered at different times, it was only natural that hers arrived first. Another roommate Julia rolled her eyes. Just look at the order time yourself. If you're not the first one to get your food, the delivery platform would go bankrupt from paying out their on-time guarantee. Julia has always had a sharp tongue, which is why she and Jenny often bicker in the dorm. Normally, I would play the peacemaker and mediate between them, but this time, I won't say another word. So I tugged at Julia's sleeve and gave her a look, signaling her not to argue with a fool. In my previous life, I was just too meddlesome. I advised Jenny that people's hearts are separated by layers, and if someone has ill intentions, being overly enthusiastic is like sending them a dangerous signal. It's like seeking your own doom. Besides, the delivery guy has to ride his bike to make deliveries, and taking time to reply to her messages not only wastes his time but is also dangerous. She thought about it and felt my words made sense, so she honestly waited for the food delivery to arrive and stopped sending harassing messages to the delivery guy. Later, she saw a trending local story about a girl who dated a delivery guy only to find out he was actually a rich second-generation heir experiencing life. She believed that if she hadn't listened to me, she could have successfully hooked up with a hidden rich second-generation heir. I am the stumbling block to her marrying into a wealthy family, so she tricked me into going on an outing and actually put rat poison in the bibimbap she made, causing me to die in excruciating pain. After my death, my soul did not dissipate. I saw Jenny gather a group of men who dragged my body deep into the woods with ill intentions, and what happened next is something I dare not recall. Thinking of this, I changed my delivery profile picture to a tattooed tough guy. Then I changed my name to AAA Seafood Wholesale William. After that, I smiled and affirmed Jenny's words. Jenny, you really have foresight. I've heard that many delivery guys these days are actually hidden rich second-generation heirs. Those young masters get tired of their cushy lives and come out disguised as workers, blending in among us laborers. You're so sweet-tongued. Maybe one day you'll actually run into a rich second generation who's out experiencing life. And he'll just love a woman like you who isn't blinded by money. Jenny is a typical case of seeing romance everywhere. During military training, she didn't stand at attention properly and got glared at by the instructor. She told us the instructor was giving her special attention. When she went to see a doctor, the physician used a stethoscope, and she claimed the doctor deliberately kept his hand inside her clothes for a long time, definitely because he fell in love with her at first sight. While getting her hair cut, Tony tried to sell her a membership card, and she thought Tony just wanted to see her often. Moreover, Jenny believed in the old saying, don't hit a smiling face. As long as she fawned over others like a sycophant, she could secure the best treatment in every situation. At first, Julia and I, as her roommates, would advise her that girls need to protect themselves and not show their vulnerable side to strangers. She scoffed at this, believing that we were all just jealous of her charm and intelligence. Over time, we simply stopped bothering with her. If it weren't for the fact that in my previous life I was worried her reckless behavior might cause trouble for the innocent delivery guy who had to respond to her messages, I would never have tried to stop her. After hearing what I said, Jenny nodded in satisfaction. He leaned over to glance at my delivery app profile. Alice, why are you using such a burly man as your profile picture? The delivery guys probably time their deliveries just right when they see your avatar is a man. Look, ever since I started using this pink capybara as my profile picture, so many delivery guys have been starting conversations with me. The other day when I ordered delivery, one of the guys even gave me a lollipop. I secretly rolled my eyes. A lollipop is all it takes to make her act like a lovesick fool. Suddenly, an idea struck me, and I curled the corner of my mouth. What's the point of being a capybara? Maybe the delivery guy thinks you're just a kid, so he gives you a lollipop. Wouldn't that make you miss out on all the rich guys who could show you a good time? You're a perfectly fine college girl, even if you have nothing else, at least you have youth. But most delivery guys just leave the food downstairs and go. How are they supposed to know you have youth? For such obvious language hints, Jenny is no fool. She quickly figured it out. You mean changing the profile picture to my photo? I gave her a thumbs up. Of course. What's the use of just having a capybara as your profile picture? Isn't that just going to make you miss out on a lot of good relationships? Don't believe in that nonsense about fate. Mutual attraction always starts with looks in the beginning. When I said this, Julia's mouth dropped open wide enough to fit an egg. She probably suspected I was possessed, but Jenny didn't doubt it at all. She seriously considered the advice I gave her. Then she pulled up a recent half-body photo she had taken, with our school as the backdrop. After spending half an hour editing the picture, she finally replaced her food delivery platform profile picture with the edited version that gave her an internet-famous look. After Jenny hummed a little tune and left for her elective class, Julia nudged me. Alice, are you okay? It's one thing for her to act crazy, but why are you joining in on the madness? I chuckled. I'm doing just fine. Since Jenny wants to land a wealthy husband, I might as well do her a favor and help her out. Who knows? If she really marries into a wealthy family, we might get to benefit from it too, right? Julia gave me a puzzled look but didn't say anything more. Ever since Jenny changed her profile picture, she's been flirting with the delivery guy even more often. In the past, we used to eat 2 meals a day at the school cafeteria and order takeout for 1 meal. After changing her profile picture, Jenny felt like ordering takeout 5 times a day. To her surprise, more delivery guys started responding to her. Most delivery guys were still busy fulfilling orders and had no time to respond to the disgusting messages Jenny sent. However, 7 or 8 delivery guys did initiate conversations with her. I've had the chance to glance at a few chat records, and they're all somewhat uncomfortable. Little sister, takeout isn't good for you. How about I take you out to get some proper food? Don't worry, beautiful, I'll deliver your order first. I'd feel bad if such a pretty girl went hungry. Send me a selfie, or I'll deliver your order last. Statements that would be considered sexual harassment by normal people were not seen that way by Jenny. She found the right angle, pouted, squinted, and put on an expression of being so hungry she was angry. After smoothing the photo until it was out of focus, she sent it to him. You're so mean, big brother. If you don't deliver soon, I'm going to get angry, and when I get angry, it's terrifying. Hungry dragon roar. Rawr. After a week, Jenny had actually added over 10 delivery riders' personal WeChat accounts. They all looked like trouble at first glance. At first, she was chatting enthusiastically, but within a few days, she started to get impatient. It's so annoying, these guys are definitely not undercover rich kids. I made it so obvious that I was hungry, and they still didn't get the hint to order me some takeout. And this one, just by looking at their social media, you can tell they're a loser. If their social media is open but there's not a single post, they must be broke. If they had money, they would have already shared their daily life. Julia and I exchanged a glance, and then I comforted her. You just don't get it. Rich people are usually very low-key. Tall trees catch the wind, after all, and you, being an educated person, how can you still judge people by their appearance? Haven't you heard the saying, never judge a book by its cover? Is Jack Ma handsome? Jack Ma is handsome because I have a bias in his favor, so he's handsome. Julia also flipped through her textbook and casually echoed my words. If some undercover second-generation rich kid finds out you're evaluating them with such shallow criteria, you can probably kiss your dream of marrying into a wealthy family goodbye. Our conversation made Jenny suddenly tense up. She, who had started to become perfunctory, began to put in extra effort to deal with every delivery guy. Afraid of missing her true match. Not only that, Jenny, who used to wear casual clothes to pick up deliveries, now started to maintain a full appearance. She waited for the deliveries in her dorm every day, wearing a dress, just because I unintentionally said to Julia while chatting, "Oh, if one day I meet my soulmate without washing my hair or face and still wearing pajamas, my life would be completely ruined." Jenny, dressed up to get takeout, successfully added more delivery guys on WeChat. She happily went upstairs with the takeout and proudly held the cup of milk tea in front of Julia and me. "Look, this is the milk tea brother Daniel specially bought for me. I have a feeling he's a hidden rich second generation. If that weren't the case, he could have just bought me a $4 lemonade to brush me off, but he bought $10 hey tea instead." I was instantly speechless. Just as speechless as the day I saw her get won over by a lollipop. As long as you're happy. Jenny was in a great mood and generously invited Julia and me to share the fried chicken she had ordered today. Julia never liked eating these fried foods. Meanwhile, I glanced at her takeout bag and noticed a sticky, unidentified liquid hidden in one corner. I waved my hands repeatedly. "No, thanks, I'm going to the cafeteria later, so you can have it." I never expected Jenny to have such big ambitions. I just gave her a little advice, and she's already so on the ball. As the number of guys in her friends list kept growing, Jenny would shut herself inside her bed curtain every night after lights out. She would put on a sweet voice to chat with different guys, or rather, to flirt. By 2 a.m., when she still hadn't finished, Julia finally couldn't take it anymore. She yanked open Jenny's curtain and yelled, "Will you ever stop? If you want to make a call, go outside. You might not need to sleep, but others do." After yelling, she herself froze in surprise. She saw Jenny wearing a barely there red lace nightgown, video chatting with a man who looked rather sleazy. When the man saw Julia appear on the screen in her spaghetti-strapped nightgown, he practically started drooling. Jenny reluctantly hung up the video call and got into a big argument with Julia. "Julia, are you jealous that Daniel and I are about to get together? You can't stand the fact that I'm about to marry into a wealthy family while you two are still single. So you deliberately interrupted our conversation, didn't you?" I quickly dragged Julia away before she could lose her temper and slap someone. "All right, you two, what are you doing staying up so late? Come on, Jenny, staying up late is a woman's worst enemy. Do you want to age faster?" When I mentioned growing old, Jenny finally, albeit reluctantly, closed the curtains and went to sleep, and I quietly sent a message to Julia. "Just wait and see. I've seen this Daniel's social media feed. It's all a polished facade. Some people are just digging their own graves right now, so let's not get involved in this mess." Jenny has now set her sights on Daniel as her main focus for cultivation. Those delivery guys who don't have their moments open or seem to come from ordinary families were all unfriended by her. When she deletes people, she doesn't hold back with her words. Broke as hell and still trying to hit on girls, disgusting. Instead of focusing on delivering food, you have time to chat with girls. How shameless. Jenny seemed to have forgotten who was the one initiating conversations with these guys. Now, she was fully focused on reeling in Daniel, the big fish. I happened to glance at Daniel's social media feed once. Yachting for deep-sea fishing, a Lamborghini steering wheel with just a hand and no face, golf courses. It was all high society living, but there was an indescribable sense of something off about it. But Jenny didn't think there was anything wrong with it. She believed Daniel was a hidden rich kid just out to experience life. Even saying he was a first-generation looker wouldn't be an exaggeration. After chatting for several days, they finally decided to meet in person. Jenny spent a long time picking out clothes from her wardrobe. She originally planned to wear a white dress to highlight her pure and innocent college girl image. But I kept shaking my head. "No, you don't look like a socialite. Rich people actually care about first impressions as well as matching social status. Look at your dress. The threads are so long. It's clear you're not a pure college girl, but a poor college girl." My words were an eye-opener for Jenny. She hurried to the nearest mall and used her credit card to buy a little Chanel-style suit set for over $2,000. Before heading out, Jenny patted me on the shoulder. "Alice, thank you for your advice. If you still haven't found a suitable job by the time I marry Daniel, you can come work as the housekeeper at our place." That evening, Jenny came back beaming with joy. let me tell you, Daniel is really wealthy. When he wasn't paying attention, I secretly took a picture of his car. It's a Porsche, and it's a limited edition model worldwide. I leaned over to look at the photo in Jenny's hand. The more I looked, the more something felt off. There was only one of this model in the entire province, and it was at my brother's car rental shop. My brother runs a car rental business. When he managed to get his hands on this car, he bragged about it on his social media for a long time. It was a globally limited edition in emerald green. It said that he's the only one in the entire province who owns one. However, the rental price is also steep, costing $2,000 per day. While Jenny was still lost in her dream of becoming a wealthy lady, I slipped out of the dorm and gave my brother a call. Bro, has anyone rented that limited edition global model from your car dealership these past few days? My brother often complains to us that while many people are interested, very few are actually willing to rent it. After all, with such a luxury car, the rental fee is one thing, but if there's any scratch or damage while driving, the compensation won't be small either. Hey, don't even mention it, but you won't believe it. Yesterday a chubby guy came into the shop and took a liking to that car right away. The shop assistant kindly told him that car was too expensive, but guess what? The guy got offended, saying the staff was looking down on him, and insisted on renting it for a whole week. However, when it came time to pay the deposit, it took a while. The staff mentioned overhearing him step out to make a call to borrow money, saying something about impressing a rich and beautiful girl, but that's none of our business. As long as it's rented out, it's fine. Hearing my brother's animated storytelling, I felt reassured. This Daniel is just pretending to be something he's not. Probably thought Jenny was a rich, beautiful girl and wanted to be a Phoenix man, but it turned out they were both thinking the same thing. With the experience from my past life, I definitely won't share these findings with Jenny this time. I want to see how she digs her own grave. Jenny started hanging out with Daniel every day, even skipping classes repeatedly. Despite the academic advisor's warnings about delaying graduation, Jenny didn't take it seriously. Narrow-minded, aren't all these classes just for getting a job later? If I don't even need to work, what's the point of learning this? Daniel said he has connections. When the time comes, I'll have him notify the school administration, and they'll have no choice but to issue me a diploma. But even though she kept saying she was about to become a wealthy wife, her actions told a completely different story. That day, Julia and I were watching a variety show in the dorm. Jenny had just returned from her date with Daniel and, seeing both of us there, she cleared her throat. Since we're all classmates, I'll give you an excellent investment opportunity. Each of you give me 5,000 as an investment. Once Daniel's project succeeds, I'll give you dividends. Who knows how many zeros will be added to that amount by then? So, what do you think? It's a great deal, right? Of course, if you have more spare cash, you can invest more for even higher returns. Julia and I looked at each other, and then I asked in disbelief, if I'm not mistaken, are you asking to borrow money from us? Upon hearing the word, borrow money, Jenny became so anxious that she started jumping up and down. I'm inviting you to join us, don't you get it? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you're not cherishing it. You'll regret it for the rest of your life if you miss out. It seems she's starting to blur her class status under the mutual deception between her and Daniel. After carefully choosing her words for a long time, Julia looked up at Jenny seriously. Jenny, don't let yourself be treated like a piglet. You said Daniel is rich. Would he really need your small change to invest in a new project? Just think about it. That's impossible, right? Jenny immediately flew into a rage. Biting the hand that feeds you. Fine, since you're not interested, I'll find someone else. Don't come crying back to me when you see others moving up in the world. Seeing this, I quickly pulled Julia aside. Let's just stay out of it since we don't understand. Don't be mad, Jenny. Just remember to send us an invitation when you marry into a wealthy family so we can see how the other half lives. Jenny asked around, but naturally, no one was willing to lend her money. We are all students. Those from ordinary families couldn't come up with thousands of dollars at once, while those from wealthy families looked down on it. In the end, I don't know how she managed it, but she somehow gathered $30,000 and gave it to Daniel, calling it their love fund. A week later, the Porsche that Daniel had rented also reached the end of its lease. My brother told me that there was a baby special seat sticker on the passenger seat, and when it was peeled off, it left behind some residue. When he was asked to pay for the cleaning fee, Daniel made a big fuss, claiming the car dealership was trying to scam him, insisting that it could just be scraped off by hand. My brother gestured with a go-ahead motion and said nonchalantly, well, you can try scraping it off yourself, But just so you know, if you end up scratching the surface, it won't just be the cleaning fee you'll have to worry about. Daniel understood the risks involved and, after haggling for a while, finally paid the cleaning fee. Seeing Jenny return on an electric scooter, I secretly laughed. On the surface, I pretended to be concerned. Jenny, doesn't Daniel usually drive you back in his limited edition Porsche? Could it be that Daniel's investment failed and he had to mortgage the car? Jenny doesn't allow us to say anything bad about Daniel. She glared at me angrily. That car is just flashy without substance. It broke down after just a few days, and Daniel took it in for repairs. Julia playfully leaned in. Oh, Daniel's family is so wealthy. Surely they don't have just this one car, right? If it breaks down, would he have to ride an electric scooter? This question hit right at the weak spot. Which rich second-generation family relies on just one car? Anyone with common sense could figure that out. It's a pity that Jenny isn't a normal person. You guys don't get it. Driving every day is so suffocating. Daniel said he usually prefers riding an electric scooter. No traffic jams, the air is better, and most importantly, at this point, she shyly lowered her head. He said it helps bring us closer together. Do these two still need to get closer? I'm afraid they've already been at a negative distance, but I still didn't expose Jenny. How long can you keep up the facade of pretending to be something you're not, especially when both of them are putting on an act with each other? Another half a month passed, and my birthday arrived. My parents gave me a BMW as a birthday gift. When the weekend ended and Jenny saw me getting out of the car, her greed was unmistakable. Alice, your parents actually gave you such a nice car. Daniel was just complaining that his car has been at the dealership for repairs for a long time and it's really affecting his ability to meet with clients. How about you lend your car to Daniel for a few days as a temporary solution? Don't worry, he definitely won't use it for free. Once his car is back, Daniel will settle the payment with you on a daily basis. I sneered inwardly. Still waiting for the car to come back. I'm afraid that car won't be returning. After the incident with Daniel renting the car, my brother felt that keeping the car at the rental agency was too wasteful and carried high risks. It would be better to drive it home and use it for our own enjoyment. After this, even if Daniel wanted to rent it, he wouldn't be able to. Sorry, but my parents have repeatedly told me not to lend the car to classmates. They said if any traffic accidents happen, it would be hard to sort things out. Jenny's expression turned sour after I refused. What do you mean by that? Who are you cursing to get into a traffic accident? If you don't want to lend it, then don't. Do you think anyone is desperate to drive your crappy BMW? Daniel drives a Porsche, you know. Making him drive a BMW might actually lower his status, but I still advise you, don't be so narrow-minded. After saying that, she stormed out in a huff. What kind of business could Daniel possibly close? He's just pretending to be a rich second-generation heir while delivering takeout to scam money from people like Jenny. That day, when we returned to the dorm after class, we were once again shocked by Jenny's actions. As Julia and I pushed open the dorm room door, we saw Jenny sitting on her bed taking a selfie. The clothes she was wearing could barely cover the 3 key points. If you looked closely, you could faintly see the jade rabbits that seemed ready to burst out. Jenny, are you some kind of pervert, wearing something like that in broad daylight in the dorm? Do you think the dorm is yours alone? Julia has been single her whole life and has never even held a man's hand. Seeing Jenny barely clothed made her blush all over. She turned her face away and didn't look at her again. What are you yelling for? We're both women. What do I have that you don't? I quickly pulled her bed curtain shut, hurriedly covering up this eye-scorching scene. Are you taking a selfie? Daniel has such unique preferences. Jenny, who was inside the bed curtain, got dressed and climbed out. Daniel told me that he used to work as a delivery rider because he wanted to understand the operational model of food delivery platform companies from the perspective of a grassroots worker, with the intention of acquiring the platform outright. Alice, since your family is in business, you should know that business people don't have that much liquid capital, so he asked me to take a few photos for him, which he could use to borrow some money from his friends to ease the cash flow. The CPU in my brain was about to overheat. After snapping back to reality, I cautiously asked, did Daniel also ask you for photos of the front and back of your ID card? Or maybe a photo of you holding your ID? Jenny nodded, looking confused. What's the big deal? Daniel and I are already at the stage of discussing marriage. It's not strange for him to ask for a photo of my ID. He said he'd buy plane tickets and take me to Sonia for vacation once summer break starts. How else would he book the flights and hotel without my ID? Sexual attraction mindset is truly a more terrifying existence than a love-struck mindset. They started discussing marriage and future plans within less than a month of knowing each other, however. From her words, I am almost 100% certain that this Daniel is using her private photos and identity information to take out illegal online loans. Not only that, but the other party has been taking advantage of her in every way, to help Daniel through what he calls a difficult time. Jenny has started cutting back on her expenses. Takeout became a luxury, so she uninstalled the food delivery apps she used to rely on for all 3 meals a day. She started going to the cafeteria every day, eating a large steamed bun that cost 50 cents each, paired with free soup for a meal. When her period came, she wished she could use one regular pad for the entire day because they come in larger packs. Even during the heaviest days, she couldn't bring herself to buy overnight pads, let alone period panties. If Daniel were a true rich second generation, he would probably swear to the heavens that he would marry no one but her, seeing how she scrimps and saves for him. Unfortunately, he is not. He is just a pig butchering scam operator. Borrowing from loan sharks is inherently dangerous, with daily interest reaching thousands, let alone on such an unregulated platform. When the debt collector was blocking the dormitory entrance, Jenny still had no idea what was happening. It wasn't until the other party showed her the intimate photos she had taken for Daniel that she suddenly realized the truth. I don't know how much money Daniel borrowed using her photos and ID, but the debt collectors are demanding she repay $3 million with interest, or they will plaster her photos all over the city. Jenny picked up her phone and kept dialing Daniel's number. From the initial, "The number you have dialed is not being answered," to the final, "The number you have dialed is powered off." Jenny finally realized she had been deceived. "You little slut, you're quite the tease. Looking at these photos, it's clear you took them willingly, without any sign of coercion. Now you're claiming you were forced. Who would believe that?" The debt collector approached Jenny with ill intent, tugging at her clothes. However, this was a school after all, and soon security guards came to drive away those debt collectors. Before leaving, the debt collector lewdly scanned Jenny up and down. "If you have the guts, just keep hiding at school. When you come out, it might not be 3 million anymore, but 5 million or even 10 million. Hearing the 1 million, Jenny trembled violently. Selling all the spare parts on her might just barely add up to that much money. Back in the dorm, she blamed everything on me. "Alice, I've figured it out. You did all of this on purpose. Why didn't you advise me against getting involved with Daniel back then? Instead, you were giving suggestions. I think you must have planned this all along." I sneered. It was indeed my premeditated plan. But why would I ever admit it to her, after all? It's not like I didn't try to persuade her, it's just that doing so nearly cost me my life. "Don't you dare throw mud at me. You're the one who said there's no harm in being sweet-talking. I didn't force you at knife point to add that delivery guy as a friend." At this moment, Jenny couldn't take in a single word. Her sharp voice nearly pierced my eardrums. "We live under the same roof, and you all know exactly what I do every day. You were just waiting to see me make a fool of myself. This money is everyone's responsibility. You and Julia have to split it with me equally, especially you, Alice. Your family is rich enough to buy you a BMW, so you should take the larger share and give me 2 million to pay off my debt." I stared at Jenny in disbelief. How could anyone say something like that? Do they think my family is running a charity, just handing over 2 million to pay off her debts? Besides, all of this is her own fault. What does it have to do with me? Before I could even open my mouth to argue, Julia slammed her hand on the desk. "Did you pawn your brain to Daniel too? You were the one who gave your ID and private photos to Daniel. It's not like we talked you into it. How do you have the nerve to come asking us for money?" I nodded in agreement. "Not even 200, I wouldn't give you even $20. Just as Jenny was about to rush over and hit us, the dorm supervisor pushed the door open. "Who is Jenny?" "Your advisor wants to see you in the office to discuss today's situation." After Jenny left with a resentful look, Julia finally calmed down from her anger. "You say, is she mentally ill? I've told her all along that girls need to protect their privacy and not get too close to strange men, but she just wouldn't listen. Now that something's happened, she's trying to pin it on us. Who knows if she ran into a person or a ghost?" I smiled. "I know, but if I told Julia about my past life experiences, she might think I've lost my mind too," so I just kept agreeing without saying much. Sigh. At least we're roommates. If we can't help her, we should at least notify her family. This kind of thing should be known by her parents. Julia agreed with me. After all, as classmates, we definitely wouldn't help her repay the money. The text messages from the beginning of the semester, when Jenny borrowed my phone to ask her family for money to pay her phone bill. were still in my phone and hadn't been deleted, so I took out my phone and dialed her mother's number. Auntie, hello, something has happened to Jenny at school, and it's quite serious. We're worried about her, so we're calling you. Since the start of the school year, Jenny has been tight-lipped about her family situation. I only know that her family lives in the countryside and she has a 10-year-old brother. Upon hearing, 3 million. The woman on the other end of the line let out a sharp scream. This good-for-nothing isn't even worth 3 million if we sold her. Jenny's mother rushed to the dormitory by overnight bus, grabbing her by the hair. She slapped her face repeatedly. You've really made something of yourself. I was planning for you to go back to the village after graduation and marry Bob next door. His family has some money and wanted to marry a college-educated woman. But now you've gone and racked up a debt of 3 million. The agreed bride price was 500,000, which was just enough for your brother to put a down payment on a house in the city to get married. Now we're 2.5 million in debt instead. You're nothing but a fool. Don't go to school for now. Come home with me, kneel down and apologize to Bob. His family has plenty of money, and maybe he'll like your looks enough to pay off this debt for you. The situation made both Julia and me shrink into the corner, not daring to speak. I originally thought that even if Jenny's family favored sons over daughters, they wouldn't treat her too poorly. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let her go to college. I never expected they were just fattening the pig to sell it at a better price. Upon hearing her mother's words, Jenny shook her head like a rattle drum. Mom, I was set up, she said, pointing at me. It's all because of this roommate named Alice. From the very beginning, she encouraged me to hang out with those shady men. Otherwise, would have just ordered takeout and never gotten involved with people like that. Her family is rich, and she's the one who got me into this mess, so she should be the one to pay for it. Jenny pointed all the blame at me. She knew that Julia came from an ordinary family, so even if she pinned it on her, she wouldn't be able to extort much money. Hearing this, Jenny's mother also looked at me. No wonder you pretended to be kind and called to tell me that Jenny was in trouble. My daughter is your roommate, so you all share the responsibility of keeping each other in check. Now that something has happened, you should at least share 8 million of these 3 million. Like mother, like daughter, both of them have the same bizarre way of thinking. Sorry, Jenny is an adult and needs to take responsibility for her actions. Even if she were a minor, you are her guardians. What does this have to do with me? The two of them were still trying to argue with me when the counselors showed up again. Jenny, those debt collectors have been waiting for you at the school gate, and they're seriously threatening the safety of our students. If you don't resolve this matter soon, the school will have no choice but to expel you according to the rules. Upon hearing about the expulsion, both Jenny and her mother panicked. Jenny didn't want to go back to the village and get married, and her mother was afraid that her daughter would lose value if she got expelled. I had no choice but to go through the process of taking a leave of absence, promising to return once this matter was resolved. Life in the dormitory with just Julia and me was quite comfortable, but that comfort didn't last long. When Jenny came back to pack her things, she had returned to her usual arrogant self. I told you Daniel isn't that kind of person. He said he didn't communicate well with his friends that day, which is why those people came to the school looking for me. Now he's taken care of it, and the debt collectors are gone. I glanced at her. Oh, so you're not planning to continue with school? Why are you packing your things then? Seeing that I had brought it up, Jenny lifted her head even higher. Of course. I'm getting ready to pack up and go work with Daniel. He said he's already mastered the operational secrets of food delivery platforms and plans to expand the business overseas. By then, we'll truly be in two different social classes. I looked deeply at Jenny. Congratulations. May I ask where you plan to start your journey? Jenny proudly replied to me, of course, starting with the nearest country, Thailand. Julia and I exchanged a glance, shaking our heads helplessly. Daniel is probably unable to repay the money and is planning to settle the debt with his own person. Anyway, it's likely that we won't be in the same social class as you all in the future. Tonight, I'll treat you to barbecue. Consider it a farewell dinner. It's normal for anyone to be the one treating others to a meal. Only when it came to Jenny did things feel off. She usually splits the bill with us down to the last cent. So how could she be so generous this time? Julia was about to refuse, but I reached out and stopped her. All right, we'll definitely go. Let's consider it a proper farewell for you. When Jenny hummed a tune and went out, Julia looked at me with confusion. Alice, how could someone like her possibly treat us to a meal? Didn't you hear what she said? She's going to Thailand. Maybe she wants to drug us and take us along. I patted Julia on the shoulder. Since you already know, what is there to fear? A clown's act like this only gets performed once. Don't you want to see more of it, in front of everyone? if we refuse to eat, can she really force our heads down to make us eat? Although Julia was still a bit uneasy, she followed my suggestion and went with me to see Jenny off. It was at the barbecue stall that I first saw Daniel. He looked to be about 40 years old, with a gold chain around his neck swaying in the night breeze, and a face full of wrinkles that made him seem untrustworthy right away. "Thank you both for always taking care of my Jenny. Here, I'll finish this drink. You two take your time." I waved my hand. "We've already had dinner, and now we're just cozying up. We came to see Jenny off and wish you all the happiness." A whole table of barbecue and beer was laid out before us, but we didn't even touch a single bite. While they weren't looking, I secretly dropped a piece of meat on the ground. "Don't be polite. I ordered so much just to treat you all. How can you not eat?" Seeing that we weren't moving, Daniel grew a bit anxious. "Daniel, if they don't want to eat, let them be. I'll eat more." Jenny had just picked up a skewer of lamb when Daniel knocked it out of her hand. "You're the host, they're the guests. The guests haven't even started yet. What's the rush?" There are many stray dogs around the barbecue stall, and before long, a little black dog came and snatched the piece of meat I had just thrown down. Seeing this, I took Julia by the hand and stood up. "Sorry, I just remembered we have a class tonight. You two take your time and enjoy the meal. Wishing you both great fortune." I moved too quickly, and before Daniel could react, we had already followed the little black dog and dashed around the corner of the alley. It seemed I also heard Daniel cursing fiercely behind me. "Damn, the money's gone again. That idiot Jenny still didn't get it and kept asking what money." Not long after that little black dog finished eating the piece of meat. It started staggering as it walked, then it fell into a deep, heavy sleep. "TSK, if we eat this, we'll probably wake up tomorrow already on our way to illegally cross the border." Seeing this, I still felt a lingering fear and joked with Julia. 10 days later, I received an international call. "Alice, it's Jenny. I'm telling you, Daniel really has a good eye. We're so busy here we can't keep up. He said to have you and Julia come over to help out, once the company goes public. You'll be major shareholders." Listening to her forced calm voice on the phone and the faint sounds of someone being beaten and cursed at, I pretended to be confused. "Who is this? Wrong number. I'm hanging up." Then I hung up the phone. Jenny wants to trick us into becoming part of her own achievements. After seeing so many news stories, how could we not know? She's the one who gave up on a bright future. She can't blame anyone else. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My roommate knocked over a perfume tester in the mall, and I kindly stepped in to argue with the sales assistant on her behalf. Just as the sales assistant was about to give in, my roommate grabbed my arm. "Stop arguing. I broke it, so I should pay for it." Someone recorded the incident and posted it online. My roommate capitalized on the controversy, signed with a talent agency, and made a fortune. The saleswoman was fired, and she harbored resentment, coming back with a knife for revenge. I ran to my boyfriend's rented apartment for help, but he took a long time to open the door. The saleswoman caught up with me and stabbed me multiple times. After the saleswoman fled, the door opened, revealing my disheveled boyfriend and his roommate behind it. To cover up the truth, they watched me bleed to death without intervening, opening my eyes again. I was back to the day my roommate broke the sample bottle at the mall. Oops. Along with the scream came the sound of the perfume bottle shattering on the mall's tiled floor. Shards of glass flew everywhere, and the intense floral top notes rushed into my nostrils, making me even dizzier than I already was. My roommate Wendy tugged at my arm. "What should I do, Ivy?" I accidentally broke the perfume sample. The saleswoman didn't even look up, just glanced at the floor with a pout. "Damaged samples need to be paid for at the original price. You can scan the code at the front desk." "Ivy, I just wanted to smell it. This perfume costs $899, and I've already put all my money into my meal card. I don't have enough for living expenses either." Wendy looked at me with a pitiful expression. Seeing this familiar scene, my still dazed mind finally snapped back to reality. I had been reborn. In my previous life, it was the same. Wendy had broken the perfume bottle and turned to me for help. We are all freshmen in college, having just gotten to know each other after the start of the semester, and we decided to go shopping at the mall together. Wendy's family is not well off, and this bottle of perfume would cost her more than half a month's living expenses, so when the sales assistant asked her to pay the full price for it, I glanced at the nearly empty perfume bottle, pulled Wendy behind me, and tried to reason with the sales assistant on her behalf. Testers are considered consumable items and are not meant to be paid for in the first place. The salesperson was about to give in, But as more and more people gathered around, some even started recording videos with their phones, Wendy suddenly stepped out from behind me and said to me, "Forget it, Ivy, don't say any more, I broke it, so I should pay for it." After saying that, she turned her face slightly toward the nearby phone cameras, tears streaming down as she looked at the salesperson across from her. "Although my family is not well off and my living expenses are limited, my parents have taught me to be responsible since I was young. Don't worry. I will definitely make up for the money." When Wendy pulled this move, I was stunned and felt somewhat uncomfortable, but I didn't say much at the time. While she was gathering the money, I even lent her part of my own living expenses. Later, when we returned to the dorm, we discovered that the video had been uploaded online, and Wendy's and my actions sparked heated discussions. Some people think I'm too harsh, but Wendy is different. She is brave, takes responsibility, and is as resilient as an orchid blooming in a secluded valley. Even my high school boyfriend Edward, who went to the same university as me, saw the video and praised Wendy for her gentleness, thoughtfulness, and willingness to take responsibility. Some netizens believe I did nothing wrong, as I was defending a friend's interests, while Wendy's actions left them utterly confused. In short, opinions about Wendy's and my actions are divided, with both praise and criticism. Riding the wave of online popularity, Wendy signed with an agency and transformed into a minor internet celebrity, making a fortune on the web. Only the sales clerk named Donna was targeted by online bullying, lost her job. Later, holding a grudge, she waited for me outside the school when I went to visit Edward, who was renting off campus, and tried to splash sulfuric acid on my face when I was off guard. Seeing that I dodged, Donna pulled out a knife and chased after me. I quickly evaded and ran far to put distance between us, then frantically knocked on Edward's door seeking help, but there was a rustling in the room, yet no one came to open the door for a long time. It wasn't until Donna caught up that she, reeking of alcohol and with a menacing expression, screamed for me to die. After the knife plunged into my body, the smell of blood mingled with the surrounding scent of alcohol. Donna sobered up a bit, panicked, let go of the knife, and fled. Finally, the door opened, and standing alongside my boyfriend was Wendy, her clothes in disarray. I didn't have time to deal with these two. I just asked Edward to call ambulance. Edward looked troubled and didn't move, even kicking my phone far away to prevent me from calling for help myself. Wendy trembled as she spoke to me. "Sorry, Ivy, but I'm just too scared. If you don't die, that saleswoman might not go to jail and could come after me for revenge. I'm not like you. With a privileged background, even without you, your parents could still live out their golden years comfortably, right?" Edward remained silent, his actions speaking for themselves. Later, they watched as my blood slowly drained away, and I died with resentment, only to be reborn now. The pain of the knife twisting into my flesh and the despair of feeling my blood drain away still linger in my heart. At this thought, I took a step back, putting distance between Wendy and me. "I don't know, Wendy. I've never broken anyone's things, you figure it out yourself." Hearing me say that, Wendy froze, her face turning bright red. Donna overheard our conversation, snorted, and repeated herself. $8.99, how are you going to pay for it? Wendy mustered up her courage and said, "I see there isn't much left in this perfume bottle, so paying the full price doesn't seem fair, does it? That's just our policy. You're the one who broke it, and we're not even charging you for the cleanup fee. So that's already a favor. Well, in that case, could you at least give me a receipt? Just treat it as if you sold me this tester." Hearing Wendy say that, my expression darkened. Wendy was well aware that breaking a sample product didn't actually require compensation, yet in the past, she still had me step in to resolve it for her. I had originally thought she genuinely didn't know the details, but now it seems she was just used to letting those around her take the fall. "Little girl, do you have any common sense? How can I issue an invoice for a sample product? If you can't issue an invoice, why are you asking me to pay? I can report you to the tax bureau, just like in the past." As the argument continued, more and more people gathered around, and some even started recording videos with their phones. Wendy, who had been arguing with Donna until she was sweating, saw the phones being raised around her. Her eyes darted a few times, she gritted her teeth, and soon her eyes became moist. With her profile facing the camera, she spoke passionately as if in a past life. "After all, you're just an employee. I won't make things difficult for you, don't worry. Though I may be poor, my spirit isn't. I will definitely compensate you for what I broke." After saying that, she began gathering money. She checked the balance in every bank account but was still $500 short. She looked at me, And I spread my hands in a helpless gesture. Wendy, I'd love to help you, but my friend just urgently needed money and borrowed all I had. Afraid she wouldn't believe me, I showed her the transfer confirmation page. Just moments ago, I had forced my friend to borrow money from me and had already transferred the funds out. She had no money to begin with, and was willing to say so only to use my own money to uphold her good reputation. In our past life, Wendy never repaid me that $500, even until her death. Seeing that I wasn't going to help, and surrounded by a crowd of onlookers, she had no choice but to call her parents. After a torrent of scolding came through the receiver, Wendy finally managed to return the money. Back at the dorm, our relationship wasn't as harmonious as it had been in our previous life. When dinner time came around, Wendy's stomach started rumbling, seeing that I was still lying in bed. She came over and called out to me, "Ivy, could you grab me a meal while you're getting yours?" I raised an eyebrow. "Isn't there money on your meal card?" She twisted her fingers around and around. "My parents are angry. The $500 they just gave me is supposed to be an advance on next month's living expenses. The money on my meal card definitely won't last 2 months. Can you help me out?" I burst out laughing. "You didn't have to pay for it. But you insisted on pretending to be generous and taking responsibility. Now you should face the consequences of your actions and not rely on others." Seeing me speak like this, Wendy's face fell, and she completely distanced herself from me. I couldn't be bothered to deal with her, so I tidied up a bit and went to the cafeteria to get some food. In the evening, Wendy decided to skip dinner to save money and told the other 2 roommates she was dieting. Meanwhile, I had 2 meat dishes, 2 vegetable dishes, and some fruit. After enjoying the delicious meal, I went to bed under Wendy's resentful gaze. The next day, at the same time as in my previous life, that video started trending online and became a hot topic of discussion. Some sales assistants these days are way too arrogant. Look what they've driven this young girl to. The official account should come out and explain this. Is this how you train your employees? I don't get what this woman is trying to do. Doesn't she know you don't have to pay for broken testers? I saw the sales assistant was already backing down, and she still paid. Taking responsibility is a good thing too. It should be encouraged. The people around were so indifferent. If I were there, I would have lent the money to this girl. This girl is quite good looking. Does she have an account? This time, because I didn't speak and stepped back to blend in with the crowd, it wasn't particularly noticeable. The footage mainly captured Wendy and Donna's interaction, and no one was talking about me, except for my boyfriend, Edward. We were meeting for a meal in the cafeteria when he suddenly said to me, "Ivy, I came across a video online today. Is this you and your roommate?" I glanced at the video and calmly replied with a, "Yes." Edward frowned. "Why didn't you come to eat with her?" Seeing me frown, Edward continued, "What I mean is, seeing how she takes responsibility when things happen shows that she has good character. You should spend more time with her, and it would be good for you to communicate more." I smiled. It's not that I didn't come to eat with her. After she paid for the perfume, she ran out of money and is now in the dormitory filling her stomach with water. Hearing me say that, Edward became anxious. "Then hurry up and call her down. We'll treat her. She's just a little girl. Looks like she doesn't even weigh 80 pounds, probably eats less than half of what you do. How much could it possibly cost us?" Seeing me roll my eyes, Edward realized he was being too eager and coughed a couple of times. "Mainly, I'm doing this for you. I'm your boyfriend, so it's only right that I treat your roommate. If you get along with her, you can look out for each other in the future." Looking at Edward's attempt to cover up his intentions, I couldn't help but laugh at myself inwardly. In my past life, it was the same. Wendy was quite attractive, and after her video went viral, Edward, swayed by her looks, subtly tried to get information about her from me. At the time, I didn't think much of it. Plus, since I had lent money to Wendy, she kept thanking me profusely. Our relationship wasn't as strained as it is now. Plus, although I was unhappy with her previous behavior, I couldn't resist having a boyfriend who thought he was helping me build connections. Later, after a few interactions, they actually became familiar with each other. It wasn't until before my death that I found out they had long been sneaking around behind my back, and they even stood by and did nothing, which led to my death. Thinking of this, I pretended to ponder and said, "I understand, but after all, Wendy is a young girl with strong self-esteem. Maybe she doesn't want to come over and be the third wheel around us. How about this? I'll share her contact with you, and you can see if there are any suitable guys around you. Let's pretend to set Wendy up with a boyfriend. That way, it'll be easier for the 4 of us to hang out together for meals in the future." Hearing me say this, Edward's eyes lit up. "Ivy, you really are the kindest girl I've ever met. I smiled. Helping others is a joy. It's only right. Of course I have to help out, otherwise if you two don't get a chance to meet this time, how am I supposed to deal with both of you at once? When I got back to the dorm, I kindly filled a whole container of braised pork for Wendy. I hope Wendy's stomach, which has been on a light diet these past few days, can handle it. Edward had already added her, saying they should be friends. When I came back, she still seemed a bit at a loss. I handed her the meal box I was holding. It was all a misunderstanding before. I've never known how to handle sudden situations since I was young, so I didn't really help you much. I hope you don't mind. My boyfriend said you seem like a good person at first glance, and we'll all be friends from now on. Here, I brought you some food. You must have been lacking protein these past few days. Make sure to replenish it. Seeing me say this, Wendy also smiled and affectionately took my hand. You know you're wrong. That's good. Listen to your boyfriend more in the future. He has good taste. Hee hee. After saying that, she took the meal box and, after devouring it, she slumped in the chair. Ivy. Thanks for the braised pork. I've signed with an agency now, and once I get the money, I'll treat you back. That was just talk. In my previous life, I never got to eat a single meal she treated me to before I died, but the company she signed with did make me a bit curious. Which company did you sign with? Are you going to be a big influencer or a celebrity from now on? Hearing this, Wendy was clearly pleased. Her smile so wide it seemed to reach the sky. It's Orange Entertainment. They were very sincere, saying they'd give me an advance payment as soon as I sign, and they even want me to shoot an advertisement. In her previous life, 2 companies wanted to sign her. One was an established company that had been operating for many years, although the benefits and compensation weren't great. It was stable. The other was this newly emerged Orange Entertainment, which was the brainchild of a certain second-generation rich kid. It didn't take long for it to go bankrupt due to a scandal involving shady contracts and partnerships with unverified, low-quality advertising products. In her previous life, I analyzed the situation with Wendy for a long time and ultimately chose the more stable, long-standing company for the sake of security. In this life, without my help, Wendy, who was in desperate need of money, chose a new company that appeared glamorous but was actually overrated. I shook my head and casually swiped my fingers across the phone screen a few times. The videos from a while back have been gaining more and more popularity, with many new entries being created. In fact, I later realized that it wasn't really supposed to get this popular. It was just that Wendy's appearance caught the attention of Capital, so they just hired promoters behind the scenes. The videos that appeared later were also edited to amplify the saleswoman's arrogant behavior, such as frequent eye-rolling, looking down on others, and so on. The criticism directed at Donna was also overwhelming. The perfume company has also responded, saying they will conduct employee training, and Donna has already been fired. Counting the days, it won't be long before Donna breaks down and goes crazy. But this time, the only person she wants to take revenge on is Wendy. I saw Wendy swaying in front of the mirror, fantasizing about the future with great anticipation. This time, which will come first, the agency's scandal or Donna's revenge? Which one of them can Wendy resist? Lately, when I'm with Edward, he often gets distracted and always stares at his phone with a silly grin. I understand. My boyfriend is in love, and the object of his affection is probably my roommate. In Wendy's eyes, Edward wasn't of much value, but she was short on money. Although she had signed with a talent agency, the promised advance payment had not been deposited yet. Advertising shoots and social engagements all required spending. In this life, Wendy is even more destitute than in her previous one. She's also a bit more uninhibited than before. Every night, those flirtatious words come effortlessly to her lips. She sleeps in the bed opposite mine, and through the curtain, I can see the faint glow of her phone as she types away, sending messages to my boyfriend. I discovered all of this later on Edward's phone. Accompanying the chat records were several 5-figure transfers. Before long, Edward ran out of money and started borrowing from me. All sorts of lame excuses, such as a friend discovering an investment project and he wanted to give it a try. The family suddenly decided that boys should be raised with hardship, so they cut off his allowance. Because he saved up to buy me a luxury necklace, he ended up with no money and had to use my meal card. I do know about the necklace. He gave one to me and one to Wendy. Same brand but different styles. Of course, Wendy's is real, mine is fake. Wendy didn't explicitly say the necklace was from Edward. She just said, "What a coincidence." When I tried it on, Ivy, my recent admirer and your boyfriend both gave necklaces from the same brand. What a coincidence. It's like we're fated to be connected. Her expression was friendly. but there was a subtle hint of pride and mockery in her eyes. I know that Wendy's past insecurities, caused by various reasons, have now, under the glamour of her new life, evolved into a kind of arrogance. The facade she wrapped herself in is starting to itch from vanity, and it's about to become impossible to hide. After all, this is who she truly is. Just like in her past life, being with Edward wasn't solely because she lacked money. It's just that even though her family background and grades are not as good as mine, isn't it still her that my boyfriend likes? She enjoys this kind of thrill. When the three of us go out together, she winks at Edward the moment I look away. When the three of us eat together, she lifts her toes and kicks Edward's calf. She was about to die from pleasure, but I knew she wouldn't be enjoying it for much longer, because I came across Donna's live stream video. In the video, Donna had sunken eyes and had lost the arrogance and elegance she had that day. I know I was wrong. I was in a bad mood that day because I broke up with my boyfriend, so my attitude wasn't good. Besides, compensating for trial products is what our manager said during training. I was just following the rules. Please, I'm begging you, don't trouble my family anymore. Someone keeps knocking on our door in the middle of the night, and my family is suffering from neurasthenia. Was what that woman did right? She was so firm at first, then suddenly wanted compensation. I was already planning to verify with headquarters and let it go. So why are you only blaming me and not her? Wendy sneered upon hearing the video's content. Fools will be fools. With so many people filming, of course you have to put on a show. Take me, for example. Even if the video doesn't go viral, I lose nothing, but if it does, it's a chance for a complete transformation, bought for just a few $100. Isn't that better than slaving away for a lifetime? So that was her real mindset back then. It had nothing to do with any sense of responsibility. I asked her with a smile, what does that have to do with you not charging? Defending your own interests isn't a bad thing, right? Hearing this, Wendy didn't respond directly but just pouted her lips slightly. Well, wealthy people don't really like overly assertive individuals. Besides, I need to show them my integrity. So that's how it is. It seems my roommate here has dreams of marrying into a wealthy family. Edward is probably just her appetizer. Alright, I won't talk to you anymore. A guy asked me out for Japanese food, and I heard his family owns a car dealership. I can't afford to lose face. Darling, come help me pick out a matching bag. A hint of superiority appeared on Wendy's face. I pretended to ponder as I glanced at the bag in her hand. I remember this bag, last month, when Edward's credit card reminded him to make a payment, I saw the bill from this store while checking his phone when he wasn't around. Let's go with this one, it suits you well. Hearing this, Wendy smiled. You should ask Edward to buy you a bag too. A woman can't do without a bag. After saying that, she turned around, waved at me, and walked out the door with light steps. Using the bag Edward bought to boost my confidence while meeting other rich second-generation heirs. Thinking about it, I really feel sorry for my own boyfriend. I shook my head and turned my attention back to the live stream. Donna's eyes were bloodshot, her mental state hanging by a thread. She desperately tried to explain, hoping the netizens would spare her family, but every time she said something, countless accusations and insults from the netizens were waiting for her. In the end, her mental state completely collapsed. She started cursing uncontrollably and was forcibly taken off the live stream. After she ended the live stream, I opened my phone and pretended to share my daily life, sending a message to Edward. Oh, I'm so envious of Wendy. Being pretty really has its perks. Someone gives her a bag, someone else treats her to a meal. Edward replied instantly. Who treated her to a meal? It seems like some senior invited Wendy to eat Japanese food. And Wendy even said she wouldn't be coming back tonight. The Japanese restaurant she just mentioned sounds really good. Let's go there together sometime. After saying that, I sent the location of the Japanese restaurant to Edward. I noticed that the other side kept showing, typing, but eventually, there was no response, and everything fell silent. I curled the corner of my mouth, counting the time. Today is the day Donna went mad and sought revenge in her previous life. From the live stream just now, it's clear that her mental state is on the verge of collapse. I wonder if the sulfuric acid that wasn't splashed on my face in the previous life will end up on Wendy's or Edward's face this time. I also wonder if they can dodge it as skillfully as I did. It was almost time for the dormitory to close, and Wendy still hadn't returned, although the two roommates were puzzled. Our dormitory was a mix of different majors, and Wendy wasn't very close with them on a daily basis. No one asked any further questions, until they came across a video. My roommate screamed, then looked at me. I asked in confusion, "What's wrong? Why are you so scared?" My roommate's face looked a bit pale. I came across a video and I'm sending it to you." Another roommate had already picked up her phone and started screaming along, "Oh my God, is that Wendy?" And the other person, "Ivy, is that your boyfriend?" I clicked on the video. The video started off normally, set inside a Japanese restaurant, where someone recognized Wendy and began filming her with their phone. "Look, this is that internet celebrity who was arguing with the sales assistant a while ago, now she's shooting commercials." Oh, internet celebrities really make money. Just a while ago, she was still a student, and now she's decked out in luxury brands. That bag she's carrying must cost tens of thousands, right? Wendy's advantage lies in her youth, combined with the packaging from her agency and the support of various luxury clothing and accessories, elevating her usual 7 out of 10 looks to nearly a 9. At first glance, she is very captivating. She thoroughly enjoys the attention from those around her, wearing a perfectly poised smile as she listens to the young man across from her speak, until she seemed to see something terrifying, her smile freezing on her face. After realizing it, she immediately straightened her body. The camera then moved, and Donna came into the frame. At that moment, her expression was somewhat frenzied, and she was holding a glass bottle in her hand. As Donna shouted, "Die," the liquid in the bottle also splashed out. Wendy froze for a moment, standing still in place until she was forcefully pushed aside by Edward, who rushed in from the side, but the sulfuric acid, following its momentum, poured directly over Edward's head, drenching him to the core. Edward was still somewhat dazed, but after a moment, he realized what the liquid was. He was shouting loudly for water, water, but then, there was a commotion in the room as Donna, seeing that she hadn't hurt Wendy, drew her knife again. At the same time, the person filming cursed, and the screen began to shake violently. In an instant, everyone in the shop screamed and ran out, and the video abruptly ended. The next time I saw Edward and Wendy was in the hospital. Wendy was by his side, crying and sobbing, with one of her shoes missing, but aside from looking disheveled, she didn't have a single injury on her. In contrast, Edward was not only completely disfigured but had also been stabbed several times by Donna. He is currently unconscious on the bed. At the end of yesterday's video, Edward realized that Donna had thrown sulfuric acid in his face. He wanted to find water to rinse his face, but when he saw Donna pull out a knife, Wendy panicked. She tightly held on to Edward, shouting for him to protect her. Just like that, Edward endured the burning sensation on his face, his vision blurring, as Wendy pulled him around to use as a human shield, blocking several attacks. He lay on the hospital bed, his features burned to the point of melting, his abdomen was wrapped in bandages, with traces of blood seeping through. He was now in a coma. Yesterday, Donna took a knife for revenge inside the store, and because too many people reported it, she was quickly arrested and sentenced. Fortunately, she didn't harm any innocent people, and no bystanders were injured. The video has been taken down, but the incident has already spread like wildfire online. Didn't I dislike this Wendy from the start? She always seemed so fake, and now her true character is showing. That's really ruthless. Someone already took the acid for her, and she's still pulling them in to block the knife. There's no need to say that. Wendy is also a victim. Who wouldn't panic in such a situation? She just wanted to protect herself. This guy really loves Wendy. Didn't you see the guy who was eating with Wendy just ran off? Even if he's disfigured, it's fine. Wendy will definitely take care of him for life. But it seems like this guy has a girlfriend. I go to the same school as him, and his girlfriend is actually Wendy's roommate. A single stone raises 1,000 waves. The news of Wendy's involvement was trending on social media that very day. After she found out, she grabbed my sleeve and tearfully complained to me, "Ivy, how could those people misunderstand Edward and me like that? You know, he really is just a friend. I have no idea why he showed up at the Japanese restaurant." I pulled my arm away and said to her calmly, "I know why he showed up at the Japanese restaurant. I sent it to him, thinking we could try that place sometime later." Seeing me say this, Wendy's eyes lit up. "Great. So that means the reason for this situation lies here. Since Edward has ended up like this, you should take the main responsibility." Wendy seemed to breathe a sigh of relief and continued, "Just in time, Ivy, you and Edward are a couple. Even if he ends up like this, I believe you won't abandon him. Why don't you post a video now to prove that Edward and I are just friends, and then announce online that you'll take care of him for the rest of your life? I can even teach you how to make videos. This could attract a lot of attention and turn you into an internet famous couple. You're bound to make a lot of money." Now she wants to push Edward onto me. I laughed, cutting off her incessant chatter. "All right, I'll post a video right away." That very night, I posted all the pre-prepared chat records and transaction details of Edward's affair with Wendy. Oh my god, check out the tea from Wendy's roommate. The guy who took a hit for Wendy recently is actually her roommate's boyfriend, and now the girlfriend herself is exposing everything. Didn't Wendy just post an update saying they were just friends, getting exposed this quickly? I could tell from that guy's face that he's no good, sneaking around behind his girlfriend's back to be someone else's backup option. It's more than just being a backup. Everything Wendy wears and uses was bought with money this guy borrowed from his girlfriend and took out loans for. Even the most devoted admirers aren't this extreme. That's right, I've read all the chat records the girlfriend released. He borrowed money from his girlfriend to buy this and that for Wendy, and his way of thanking her in the end was to treat her to spicy hot pot. Can anyone relate? I really feel for his girlfriend. Overnight, Wendy's reputation took a sharp turn for the worse. Faced with too many judgmental stares at school, she had the key to Edward's rented apartment and simply moved in. This rented apartment was originally leased by Edward specifically for his secret meetings with Wendy. The reason given to me was that my roommate's gaming keyboard was too loud, which is why I moved out to rent a place. If in my past life I had the key he gave me, I wouldn't have had to wait at the door and be caught by Donna in despair. At this moment, Wendy is hiding inside, frantically calling me. Ivy, what's going on with the video online? What's the matter? Isn't it all clear in your chat history with Edward? You two were flirting behind my back, and he even used my money to buy you a lot of things, didn't he? Even the key to his rented place. You have it, but I don't. I'm just stating the facts now. Those things are all misunderstandings. I'll explain it to you another day. Can you just post a video saying you made a mistake first? Wendy must be so overwhelmed that she'd even say something like that. I sneered a few times and was about to hang up when she grew anxious. I'll give you money, okay? I'll give you however much you want. I've worked so hard to get where I am now. I can't lose everything. Ivy, you can't blame me for some things. I'm prettier than you. And Edward just likes me. What can I do? You should really look at yourself and figure out why. Now Edward is unconscious. You've known him for so many years. Even if you've lost the romance, there's still a bond, right? He's lying in a hospital bed right now. If my reputation is ruined and I can't get the company's money, then he won't be saved. Can you really bear to see that happen? I burst out laughing. I really can't bear to see him die. But that's only because he still owes me a lot of money, Wendy, no matter what you say. It's useless. I won't speak up for you. You'd better think of another solution while you still can. By the way, since you want to show everyone how principled you are, and Edward ended up like this because he saved you, you should at least do something. The rest of his life is in your hands now. Oh, and about the money he owes me, I can take it to court. Make sure you pay it back for him. Then, I ignored the frantic screams coming from the phone. I hung up the call directly. After Edward woke up, the first thing he heard was the news of our breakup. Tears seemed to stream from his tightly wrapped face as he stared at me in a daze, saying it was his fault. Then he was silent for a moment before continuing. But true love is inescapable, Ivy. After being with Wendy, I finally understood what real love is. You will bless us, right? I nodded. I bless you, now that you've changed so much for her. She will surely take responsibility for you and be with you for the rest of your life. I sincerely hope you two are locked together forever. Edward seemed not to catch the subtext in my words. Hearing me say that he and Wendy would be together for the rest of their lives, the corner of his mouth seemed to curl into a faint smile. It made his face, wrapped in bandages, appear even more terrifying. He turned and asked me again, "Where has Wendy gone?" "Don't worry. She should be here soon to take care of you." Edward is an orphan, and after starting college, he didn't get close to his roommates because of the rental situation. He definitely needs someone to take care of him while he's in the hospital. I've completely cut ties with him, so now it's up to Wendy. Under the pressure from her agency and public opinion, she would definitely come. Sure enough, not long after I left, Wendy arrived at the hospital and even started a live broadcast on the spot. This was the public relations strategy devised by her agency, taking meticulous care of her benefactor, turning the controversial discussions into popularity to make money. On the internet, things like getting involved in a relationship. After a few years, no one will remember. Wendy had no other choice now, so she resigned herself to taking care of Edward in the hospital, wiping his body and changing his bandages. These tasks were still manageable, until it was time to change Edward's gauze. When that face, devoid of features and still losing pus, appeared, Wendy's scream echoed through the live stream. Edward instinctively flinched and covered his face. The live stream's moderators began to criticize Wendy. Wendy took a moment to compose herself. wiping away her tears as she forced herself to endure the discomfort and reached out to touch Edward's face. "I'm sorry, Edward, I was just so shocked. Thinking about how much you've suffered for me, I really." After saying that, she couldn't hold back any longer and rushed out. I guessed she probably went to the bathroom to throw up, and so, after a while, life turned out to be far from the dream Wendy had imagined of becoming an internet celebrity and marrying into a wealthy family. She even failed multiple courses at the end of the semester due to frequent absences and a poor reputation at school, and might not be able to graduate smoothly. When the academic advisor called and urged Wendy to focus more on her studies instead of constantly showing off online, Wendy retorted directly, "It's truly a case of, a tiger fallen to the plains is bullied by dogs. Don't worry, teacher, I've already signed with a company, so I won't have to worry about finding a job in the future. This is just a temporary setback, and it will pass sooner or later. Can't get through." Right after she confronted our advisor, her talent agency declared bankruptcy and fled. Before leaving, the company exploited loopholes in the contract and took most of Wendy's earnings. Previously partnered advertisers also started having frequent issues. Many people who had purchased products endorsed by Wendy claimed they developed skin problems and demanded an explanation from her. Wendy went to the company to ask for money, but they said the packaging expenses spent on her, along with the recent public relations costs, were more than what she had earned. If they were to calculate it seriously, Wendy would actually owe them money. Wendy told me this while crying. After all, Edward had previously owed me some money as well, but I was wise enough to get it back before their company went under. Wendy asked me if I could give that money to her instead. She said Edward had taken out a loan to buy me a necklace and now needed to repay it. I rolled my eyes hard and pulled out the appraisal certificate for that necklace. The book clearly stated that the necklace was appraised as fake. Wendy had no other options and started live streaming her tearful complaints from the hospital, but no one was willing to donate any money. Only Edward reached out to hug and comfort her, but the moment she saw his face, she instinctively retched. "Just go all out and curse without restraint, Edward. Right now I just hate why Donna didn't stab you a few more times. Why did you have to survive, if you hadn't made it? Wouldn't that have been better? Then I wouldn't have to clean up the mess you left behind. Wouldn't it be nice to just visit your grave every year? I don't care anymore. My company has collapsed, and no one is willing to sign me now. I don't want to deal with you either. You handle the loans you took out yourself. You're on your own." Edward was stunned. It was as if only at this moment did he truly see Wendy for who she was. He stood by the hospital bed, stunned. "But all that money was spent to buy the things you wanted. I became like this for you, and you're not even willing to sell the bag," Wendy sneered. "You were the one who insisted on giving it to me. Blame your own bad luck. What does it have to do with me?" After saying that, she turned to leave, unaware that Edward behind her had completely broken down and shattered the glass beside him. He charged at Wendy with a shard of glass in his hand. "Do you think I'm very ugly? Then if you become like me, you won't look down on me anymore, right?" Amid Wendy's screams, her face was slashed over and over until it was completely disfigured. Edward finally returned the fate that originally belonged to Wendy to her. The live broadcast was forced to end, but there were rumors from the hospital. By the time the medical staff managed to separate them, it was already too late. Wendy's face had been slashed to the point where the bone was visible. She stopped coming to school altogether. Both of them disappeared without a trace, and no one knew where they had gone. Much later, I came across a report about them in a piece of social news. A house in the southern part of the city caught fire, and when the flames were extinguished, 2 relatively intact bodies were found inside. Upon investigation, the deceased were identified as Wendy and Edward. They were found embracing each other at the time of death, with the woman showing signs of struggle and the man holding her tightly in his arms, a faceless face, yet you could still tell he was smiling, and none of it had anything to do with me anymore. After graduation, I moved to a different city to pursue my career. One day after work, I went shopping with friends and accidentally broke a perfume tester in the mall. When the glass bottle shattered, I heard a buzzing in my head. A saleswoman approached in high heels, and my friend instinctively stepped in front of me and said, "I remember there's a rule that you don't have to pay for broken testers in the mall." The saleswoman smiled. "Yes, testers are considered consumables under our company's policy, so no compensation is needed. I'm just glad you're not hurt." I snapped back to reality and smiled at the saleswoman. "No injuries. The scent of this perfume is quite pleasant. Please wrap up a bottle for me." After the saleswoman finished packaging it, I took the shopping bag and handed it to my friend. "Here, this is for you. Long live friendship." My friend's eyes lit up, and they pounced on me with a tight hug. "Yay, long live friendship, let's go, I'll treat you to Thai food tonight. I smiled and said, sounds good, with such a true friend by my side, the world feels at peace. After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts?